with Rebecca, Lynn, Blake, and J.A. Konrath, and we are interviewing for the BookRix community. Rebecca.
I have some questions for these guys because they're so successful in their market. So what's it like to be a self-published author? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your work.
My name is Blake Crouch. I published my first four books with a legacy publisher, St. Martin's Press. Became dissatisfied over the course of my traditional publishing career because I saw bad decisions constantly being made and not listening to me. And I dove into the ebook world about a year ago. And it's just been life-changing. Amazing experience.
How much money are you making?
About $30,000.
About 30 grand a month.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I'd like to make 30 grand a month, yeah.
I'm making about 50.
Wow.
My name is J.A. Konrath. I've worked with 3 different legacy publishers in the Big Six, and like Blake, I was extremely dissatisfied with how they were not only conducting their own business, but business with me in general. So the ebook movement really started gaining some traction in 2009, and I was lucky enough to have several books that had been rejected by the legacy industry, which I immediately put up, thinking they will be a loss lead for my print titles, because I'm going to make the big money on the print titles. Well, this was in April of 2009. That first month I made about $1,200 bucks. Not bad for books that New York rejected. A year later, I made $4,000. Well, that's pretty good. That's a nice growth for just 12 months of pushing. And again, they didn't want these books anyway in New York. Last April, I made about $65,000. So right now, this is the time, if you are an author, to get away from the traditional publishers and do it yourself.
So as an author who is self-publishing and who is, what you said, getting away from a traditional publisher, what are tips that you guys use for marketing that would, you know, be successful for me in my career?
Write a lot of books,
yeah.
A lot of digital shelf space is the first thing. And that's the most valuable thing I have is the sheer number of books, because if you write a great book, people are going to seek out more. And you get something up on Amazon, and they buy the one book, and then they see you've got 30 other titles. They can just go crazy. And there's so much opportunity to overlap between books, and somebody doesn't like this one, they're going to like this one. So expand your digital shelf space.
Absolutely. Besides expanding your digital shelf space, which is just common sense, writers write. Writers don't normally market, and unfortunately marketing is something that we all have to do. So what Blake and I do is spend a lot of time, in fact I would almost say the majority of our time. I'd rather be writing, but instead I've got to market. So I've got to be doing my updated tweets on a daily basis, and I've got to keep my Facebook page current and up to date. And I just had to pay somebody to help me port all my fans over because I reached the 5,000 limit on Facebook. So I now have a fan page. I got to hook you up with this guy. We constantly are sending out emails. We're constantly blogging. We're constantly being in touch with people on Goodreads and on Shelfari and Library Thing and social networks, and it's time consuming. And I would rather be doing what I've always wanted to do, which is write. So it would be wonderful if there was just one-stop shopping for an author who could team up with a partner and have the partner do all of the marketing for them.
But it's not just about, when we say we're marketing and we're online, we're tweeting, it's not just, oh, this is my book, look what I've done today, you know, check out my book, oh yes, here's my other book. It's about being a real, you know, participant in the online community and having smart and intelligent things to say that are not necessarily all about you. If you're out there and people are interested in what you're saying outside of yourself, they're going to still go check out your books. And I think that's when marketing is really effective. Just being visible.
Do you find that making personal connections with your fans, having them being able to contact you, write you questions, whether it's about your work or not, really benefits you in the long run? Like, is that what you mean by?
Yeah, I mean, it's time consuming, but it gives them that personal connection, and that's still what people want. So yeah, I mean,
nobody wants to be sold. I mean, we live in a society where we're constantly being bombarded with ads. And we get TiVo so we don't have to watch the commercials. We get a magazine and we skip all of the ads. What we want is we want to make relationships, form relationships with people, not based on what we have to sell, but based on what we have to offer. And that sounds just like salesperson talk, but it's actually true. Nobody wants the hard sell, but diehard fans want to know when we have something new out or when something is available. The really diehard fans want to read it before it's released. And they want to blog about it, and they want to review it, and they want to talk about it. And reaching those fans before a pre-launch of a book is very time intensive, and it's completely worthwhile, which is why we do it, but we'd also rather just be writing.
It took me probably 2 solid weeks of writing to help launch this book, Dracula, we wrote last year. 2 other writers, Jeff Strand and Paul Wilson. But what we wanted on the day that it released, we wanted minimum of 100 reviews. And we got, I think we launched with like 150.
Yeah, I think we're over 200 now.
So do you guys feel like having reviews off the top really help buyers who don't know you?
Yeah, because every one of those reviewers also has a little blog page and Twitter account and a Facebook page, and they do all. We don't just say go review it. Go spread the word on every social network that you're plugged into.
There was an old commercial for shampoo, and I don't know, you may be a little too young for it. I don't even remember what the shampoo was, but it was this new shampoo, and they had the screen of one person talking. I loved it so much, I told 2 friends, and then their screen splits in half. And they told 2 friends, and then there are 4 of them. And they told 2 friends, and then we got 16 of them, and so on and so on and so on. And that's exactly what social networking is. I don't have to reach, I'm selling 1,500 books a day right now. I don't have to reach 1,500 people a day. I have to reach a couple people, and then they can reach other people. And again, it's not about what I'm selling, it's about what I'm offering.
But then you hit a critical mass where the word truly is out. And you don't have to be quite so ambitious right out of the gate. I mean, you do out of the gate, but once you hit that one point where you have some visibility, then you can start focusing on some other things, and it's more
sustainable.
Yeah, sustainable.
And then it's just the question of a reminder when you have something new out. Once you build your platform, once you build that fan base, then it's just a question of informing the fan. And of course, you always want to use the Dr. Seuss word, keep biggering. Always want to bigger your fan base. Always want to bigger the amount of books that you have. You always want to just keep building and building and building and getting more and more virtual shelf space until nobody can avoid you. The secret isn't somebody looking for you on the internet and then finding you. Anybody can do that. You didn't win there. The secret is somebody looking for something else and then finding you. And then once they find you, a certain percentage of readers are going to become fans, a certain percentage of fans are going to become buyers, and you get enough buyers and you get to buy an island. I'm calling it Joetopia. It's going to be in the Caribbean, not a big one, only a couple of acres. You're invited. You can bring some friends.
So
one friend. You can bring one friend.
It's a small island.
Small.
Well, I'm going to come to the island whether I'm invited
Clothing
or not.
is optional
Okay.
on Joetopia.
I have one more question. So do you think that social media is what sets the difference between the traditional publishing and self-publishing? Is that what makes the big difference for you guys, or what is it?
No, I mean, the difference is that I think we're working now with a model that actually works, and it's not based on so much complete and utter waste.
Yeah.
I mean, the big publishers, when they want to, they know how to tap all the social media. They just don't do it for many books. And
You think they do it effectively?
sometimes. I think they do sometimes.
Well, if we're talking effectively, are we talking 1 out of 100? Do you consider that effective?
It's effective for the 1 out of 100.
Right. Well, I would call that wasteful and ineffective. You and I,
it's a broken model.
when you and I are tapping that, I like the phrase tapping that. When you and I are tapping that was in reference to beer, of course. You tap beer.
Okay.
Your mind is in the gutter, woman. Oh, well, let's kick her out of this interview.
My mind is the gutter that minds go into.
Well, that's a good way of putting it. When you're tapping that, I think we've been modestly successful when we do that, because we know who our audience is and we target them. And we use the people who are going to help us the most. And no, the big six can't do that. They can't. 1 out of 5 books makes a profit in New York publishing.
And no one knows my books and who my ideal fans are better than I do.
Absolutely.
And I can package my work better from...
He said package. package.
to the product description. I'm more effective at that, I think, than any of my publishers ever.
Oh, you're amazing with it. If you were a publicist, I'd hire you. Yeah, you're that good.
Is there anything that you guys are afraid that you're missing out on because you're not going with the big publishing houses? Like, for instance, movie rights or TV shows?
Yes, we're missing out on getting reamed on a daily basis and having to pretend to be grateful for.
I can do that for you.
What do you think of BookRix?
I love BookRix. It helps me connect to an audience of readers I didn't have outside of it, and it's been a great place for me to learn and grow as an author and get exposed and get online. So I think it would be a great place for you guys to come, and I mean there's so many authors on there that could learn from you too.
Well, I think we should expose ourselves.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, who's buying the next round of beer?
All right, that is the end of the interview. We're enjoying an interview with Rebecca Lynn and Blake Crouch and J.A. Konrath at the BEA here, and thank you very much. And our BookRix community will love this.